Hey everyone, so I read all the comments and saw that you guys were kind of requesting like a life update type of video. So it's kind of nice weather out today, a little chilly, but taking a bit of a walk. So I figured I would just kind of break things down because it's going to be a lengthy video, so buckle up. Kind of a quick disclaimer, not that it really matters too much, but some of my dates and timelines might not be 100% accurate because when you kind of just put your head down and like focus on work, you tend to kind of mix up dates and times, and it all kind of feels like one long year in a way. So forgive me if it's not 100% perfect, but so pretty much, where have I been is the big question. I'm not going to tell you guys like I'm back here to do YouTube like as regularly as I once did, but maybe a video every now and then. It's just sort of something that I want YouTube to be a fun thing for me and not really a source of work. So if you guys all unsubscribe, no problem, no hard feelings. I totally understand if you don't want to put up with me anymore. But so back when I had my Evo 10, one of my kind of last videos was me contemplating selling it, I believe, and I did sell the car back in October of 2018. I think that would have been or no, maybe 2019. Again, 2018 or 2019, whenever it was. Sold the car for $35,000, if you guys are wondering. And it was a steal of a price for the guy that bought it. It just kind of got to the point where the car was great. Never gave me one problem, but just the fact that I kind of created this monster of a car, and the next steps for me were the engine and the transmission and just building kind of all of the drivetrain of it. I just really at that point in time didn't want to put that kind of money into the car. And switch hands for a second. I didn't want to put that kind of money into the car. And I just sort of, as work picked up for me, I just sort of realized that because my main shop, 5150, was a good 2.5 hours away from me, it just wasn't really super convenient to be hopping in the car and making these spontaneous trips down there when my time was a lot better spent just working. So pretty much my business was ramping up for me when I was still modifying the Evo and like doing the turbo kit and stuff, but it was a completely smaller scale. I only had about, I don't even know, I think like one employee at that point in time. And it was just super small, but it was cool. And lots of hard work though. I have an online business called Speed Cube Shop, which is right here on my hat. Some of you guys know that already, some of you don't. But I've been doing it since I was 14 years old. Never thought that it would lead to being like sort of a career path or like my main job. Just sort of happened that way. And I think that for me, a lot of it was being in the right place at the right time, kind of making, I had luck on my side, but it also was a lot of hard work. I've had some help along the way in terms of like, some guidance from, my dad and mom are both really good influences on me, and some good friends and stuff too. So pretty much I've just been working. That's really all it comes down to. It's nothing that exciting. About 6 months or so after selling the Evo, I started looking into 2014 Porsche GT3s, and I'd picked up an AE86 back at that point in time for like $1,500 for a GTS hatchback, which now have skyrocketed in value. And I did a full initial D, like replica on that car, did it all myself. My buddy and I painted the car, and just everything looked really good on it. I mean, for what we did. And I was able to sell that car for a good amount of money, make some nice profit on that. Because same thing, I just realized that while it was cool to have the car, it just was still a 1980s Corolla at the end of the day. And the brakes were like old brakes, and the suspension was old, and the engine was old. And it just was kind of like, a lot to maintain for somebody that doesn't have a ton of like mechanical experience. Like I'm pretty decent working like on my cars, but the stuff that needed to be done to that car, I just wasn't, like, I'm sure if I sat down to learn it, I could do it. But for me to go and buy all the tools, learn how to do it all and all that stuff just wasn't really worth it to me. So I drove my friend's GT3 on the track, and that same day decided that like this is the goal I want to work towards, and I sold the 886. And looking back, if I had kept that car now, I would have sold it for a ton more, which kind of sucks, but you can't really think about it that way, and just kind of whatever. And then I started looking at the GT3s, and you know, they were still like within budget to where I could quote unquote afford it. And I say quote unquote, I can make the payments on it and everything, but I feel like you should be able to really comfortably afford something before you buy it. You should be able to buy the whole thing in cash and have it not even come close to affecting your bills or anything like that. I didn't have a house at that point in time, so it kind of, you know, it was easy for me to, luckily because I worked so much, I was living at my mom's house. She didn't really care too much, so I was pretty much never there. And, you know, try to contribute what I could there in terms of just like kind of helping her around the house and stuff. But I ultimately ended up deciding to start looking for these cars just kind of for fun. And then my dad is a huge car guy, and we went and started looking together, and then stumbled across a GT3 RS. And unfortunately for me, it's like once you start looking at the GT3 RS, it's really hard to start looking at just the GT3s again. I mean, they're still amazing cars, don't get me wrong, but the GT3 RS is just a whole nother animal. And for someone like me who loves track driving, that car is just like the dream. I mean, actually, fun fact is the 997 GT3 RS was my original dream car, like before my 370Z. That was like the dream car that was like the super dream car that was not really realistic at that point in time. Now, the GT3 RS was something that when we found the car, my dad and I talked a lot, because he's a good financial influence on me in terms of, you know, I don't really have like a spending habit as it is. I don't really go and just buy stuff just to buy it. I typically am more inclined to save money, but we were talking about it, and I was going to be paying a big chunk of the GT3 RS, which was okay. I mean, I had the money to do it, and it wouldn't have really hurt anything. But for me to have paid for the whole car would have been really foolish. And after talking about it, my dad and I decided, you know, me kind of unknowingly, I thought we just were going to look at the car kind of for fun, and he ended up buying it on the spot, which was crazy. I literally broke down and cried like the biggest baby you've ever seen. It was a really cool moment, and you know, my dad's done a lot for me, but I mean, he'd been trying to, like he'd always offered for, you know, me to get like a GTR and stuff like that back when I had my STI, and I always respectfully declined just because I think that being a 17-year-old with a GTR, it definitely paints a picture. I mean, on my old YouTube videos, I already got enough crap for being a young guy driving a Nismo 350Z or a Subaru STI, and then like the Evo, and just everyone always hates, oh, daddy's money, daddy's money. So it was really hard for me to like, I mean, it was hard for me to want to have a car that was, you know, bought by him, because I know what everyone on YouTube is going to think. And honestly, at this point, I just really don't care. You know, I'm proud to say that I work hard now and could make the payments on a GT3 RS pretty easily, but it's not something smart to do. That's not me saying that I'm like flexing on anybody, because I don't make a lot of money compared to a lot of people. I do okay for myself, which I'm happy about, but it's taking lots of hard work. So my point is that I'm not ashamed anymore, because me not really being on YouTube, you know, the few people that are here, I think actually care to hear about what I have to say. And sorry if there's wind noise, by the way. I hope this video isn't going to turn out too badly because I'm outside. But I feel like the people that are here right now actually somewhat care about me as a person and what I'm doing. So that's why you're probably watching the video. So I've just been enjoying that car kind of privately, and I still kept the M3 during the whole time, and I kind of took a long break from track driving. When I say that I started working a lot, guys, I literally mean that I had no personal life. I didn't do anything for cars, didn't do any track driving, and I'm not gonna even pretend like I'm some like business guru or anything, because I'm not. But the one piece of advice that I could definitely offer to anybody who has a business or is looking to start one is that burnout is very real, and I think it's kind of dangerous, and that it's easy to fall into the trap of just working like I was, literally 7 days a week, no break. I would probably work a minimum of 12 hours a day, usually probably closer to 16. My phone would always be in my hand. I'd be out to eat with friends or family, and it wasn't to be rude, but it just was what needed to be done for me to grow the business to where I have it today. And I think that now, after it was a good 3 years straight of just, I kind of hate the word because it's kind of used a lot on social media, like grinding. But after 3 years of grinding, it does kind of catch up with you. At least it caught up with me. And I'm not saying I don't work hard now, but luckily I kind of can dial back a little bit and things don't fall apart, which is nice. But it definitely kind of can just burn you out, like I said, and you feel sort of almost like unmotivated or just exhausted. And it's like I kind of regret that a little bit, but I also don't, because I know that it was a sacrifice that paid off. So I started tracking again last August. I did like 5 track days back to back to back, and that was lots of fun. And I went and did a drifting course to learn just kind of more counter steer and car control, and applied to my road course driving. Well, after I was done with the drifting course, the instructor was joking with me, saying that I would probably end up getting into drifting by the time I was done with the course. Sure enough, by the time I was done with my full day, I was already wanting to start drifting. And I don't know a ton about drifting in terms of like the mechanics of like the car being set up, but from what I do know and what I've been told, for me to use the M3 as like a pseudo road course and drifting car would be kind of difficult because of all the camber and suspension and alignment setup that would be needed. So I started looking for drift cars. I was looking for something cheap to beat on for like $5,000 or something, and was looking through just Auto Tempest, and looking for 350Zs, came across my 370Z Nismo, and it was a really, really good deal. So I kind of took a leap of faith. I mean, you guys probably, if you're here watching this, I would imagine have seen the video of me talking about me getting that 370Z, and got the car. And it's now that I got it, I just detailed the whole thing. I spent 24 and a half hours detailing it. I did literally everything on the car: 2-step correction, ceramic coating, I polished the door jambs, everything. And the car went from looking pretty rough to being really clean. So the joke of the matter is now that I'm actually contemplating not drifting the car. So that would either be me selling it and flipping it, because truthfully, for me to daily drive the car doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I do get a lot of personal enjoyment out of the car. So in a way, maybe it being so inexpensive and being such a good form of like nostalgia for me, because I always really wanted my 350Z Nismo back, and I think that car was totaled, I believe. It's kind of a cool way to bring me back to my roots, because I only sold my 350Z Nismo. Yes, I wanted a Subaru STI and everything at the time, but the first initial like justification for me selling it was that I was legitimately running out of space to fit all of my packages into the back of the Z when I went to the post office to drop them off. So this was like before mail pickups happened. and I would literally have the hatch and the front seat just jammed full of packages. So the STI was a lot more practical of a car. And, but I never really enjoyed my Z as much as I wish I did, because if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that I am borderline OCD. I joke about that. I mean, I think it's partially true, but the biggest thing is that I just take a lot of pride in the things that I have and own. So I want to make sure they stay looking nice and are not like abused and they're well taken care of. So I kind of am looking forward to revisiting my Z ownership, and now I have a bit more money, kind of building it how I wanted to back in the day, like coilovers, exhaust, like nice headlights, just all that kind of stuff. It's really special to me, but it is kind of a expensive daily when I have my Subaru Crosstrek, which is my real daily. So now I am looking for potentially, like I said, a just cheap beater car for like literally $1,000, $2,000. So if anyone has anything and you're in like California, let me know. But yeah, guys, I see we're already at 16 minutes, and I'm really hoping the wind noise is not going to be too bad. But that's about it. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff. I am engaged now. So I'm engaged, and I bought my first house, and my fiance and I are living together and everything, which is great. So that's kind of, I forgot to pick up the story after the whole Porsche GT3 RS thing. My dad ultimately said that he thought that he would rather see me kind of spend my money on like a house or something like that. And that's what we did. So it's been cool. I still actually was really looking forward to making this video. For one, knowing that at least there will be probably 10 of you guys that watch it. It's funny how badly my views have dropped, but it's what happens, so it's fine. I do kind of wish I had stuck with YouTube though, because back when I was doing it like regularly, it wasn't really so much of like a career path. And I think that had I stuck with it, like, yeah, you have to kind of have like a certain like attitude and be, it's getting cold out here, certain attitude and be sort of like able to throw yourself out there and just film in public and not care what people think. I'm super introverted, so that probably wouldn't have been me, but maybe I would have gotten used to it. But things will happen for a reason. I really enjoy what I do, and me talking to you guys about it has kind of served as a good motivation to kind of like think through all the times and how difficult things were. I was daily driving my like $500 Subaru Forester for a really long time, and I loved that car. Loved it. And I only sold that one because when I started traveling farther and farther for cubing competitions, I wanted something that was a bit newer and more reliable. Not to say that the Forester wasn't reliable, but for me, driving to Vegas and stuff for events, just it feels good being in a newer car, has a warranty and stuff. You don't really have to worry as much. I mean, the Forester, I'd be topping off fluids every single gas stop. But yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, is not to really build myself up, but I try to not care what other people really think about me too much now. I'm kind of too busy to really care, which is the nice thing. So, it's all relative. Everybody always there's someone that always has something nicer. There's lots of people online that will make you think that they have a ton of money just because they have cars or homes or whatever. And I've found the more people I meet that, objects are just whatever. So, but yeah, I did want to make it clear, like I said, about a few things, because one thing I do not like is people that take credit for someone else's hard work, in this case, the Porsche. So that's why I wanted to make sure you guys knew that that was not my hard work that paid for that car. But it's a huge privilege to own it. Thankful that for as long as I do get to drive it and enjoy it, certainly will. You guys are welcome to put in the description what kind of videos you'd want to see. I don't know if I'm going to make them, but I will entertain the thought. I do read all your guys' comments. I'm thinking that what I might do is I might go back to doing casual vlogs every now and then and making progress videos about the Z, because that's like the main thing I'm going to be modifying right now is the Z. So whether it's the Z or my drift progression and maybe my road course progression, maybe I'll try to do some videos, but for me it has to be fun because I have too much of my own work that pays the bills for me to want to do YouTube, which makes me like $20 a month or something like that. So it has to be fun for me. So we just hit the 20-minute mark, guys. I think I'm done talking. I'm freezing. I hope that you guys can understand me. Try to talk clearly, but it's freezing out here. So I hope this kind of shed some light. So the Evo is sold, the Forester is sold. Current lineup is Nismo 370Z, E46 M3 track car, GT3 RS, and the Subaru Crosstrek. So I still see comments asking if I have the Evo and stuff, so I wanted to make sure you guys knew. If you have any more questions, let me know. If you're looking to get into speed cubing, check out my website, speedcubeshop.com. I'll make you guys a custom discount code. So if you guys do want a cube, I'll give you guys a hookup on one. I'll make the code like drift or something like that. I don't know. I'll leave it in the description box down below. But with that being said, hope that you guys enjoyed. If you made it to the end of the video, major props. I know for me, I like to kind of just listen to videos while I walk or work or whatever. So hopefully this wasn't too boring. Thanks, guys. The ones that have stuck with me, I do recognize the usernames. There's that one guy with the blue GTR, I think, as his profile picture, who's always commenting, and a few others. So I do recognize you. Appreciate you for sticking with me and not giving me too much of a hard time for my sporadic posting. Hopefully this sort of paints a picture as to why things have been the way they are. Yeah, so hope you guys are all doing well, and I will hopefully see you guys in more videos.